I guess that's all you can ask for.
That means if some 3 guys get injured, he might have a sniff.
Yeah.
But he still probably won't get called.
I don't think he's going to make it just where he is in his career. And he's never really been on that radar. You know, he's had great years. Obviously, the year he won the Cup in Colorado, he would have been sniffing around. You know, they would have had to at least look at him. For sure, he was great that season.
He was unreal.
Yeah, he was incredible. And he's still a really good player that can put up numbers. But 33 or whatever, I don't think Canada's radar is going to go that deep.
No,
where Nas is going to be, on the Olympic team. But it's still a feather in his cap that someone called him and said, hey, we know what you're all about, right? And we're pulling for you, so go do your thing this year.
Offices are right in the backyard there in Calgary, Hockey Canada based out of there. I mean, they've watched him enough. They know exactly what he's capable of. So, I think there will be, you've said it along. There's going to be some teams that think they're good today, and then 6 weeks from now going, okay, let's be realistic. So we'll make some players available. That's where I think there'll be some teams sniffing around to continue to add. Hayes, you talked about older teams maybe wanting to get a little younger and add some depth or some players that can play in your top 6. I think Toronto would be one of them. I think Edmonton would be. I think there's other teams, maybe Colorado. You look at it, the teams that want to be right at the top of the standings, I still think they're not a finished product yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And although we're talking about it maybe happening early, Noodles, it's probably not. No team, no GM is quitting on their team 6 days into a season. We actually do suck. They might know it, but they're not going to be like, okay, who do you want now?
Yeah, I said 6 weeks, but I'm talking maybe it's it might be Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, November, December. You start to look at your cap space. You start to look at players. Maybe there's an injury that you've got to shield against or whatever, that type of stuff. There'll be some movement. There was none this summer. None. And I'd like to see a whole list of PTOs. Florida's bringing out 4 or 5, but outside of that.
Yeah, it's interesting the Leafs didn't offer a PTO to anybody.
Nobody.
They're usually high on that.
They love a PTO. Man, they love the Pto in the back
and signing a PTO,
and
a guy that's like a backdoor deal where it's like you're going to be on the team.
Yeah. Like Lorentz was that. Pacioretty's been that. Yeah, they've done that a lot over the years. Where
did Patches go to camp anywhere? I don't think he did.
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so either.
There's still RFAs that need deals.
Roslovic doesn't have a deal.
Roslovic had a pretty good year last year.
I think he's a good player, but again, what is he asking for? Obviously, he's not accepting a PTO. Because he'd be at a camp. I guarantee you somebody's offered him a PTO.
Yeah.
But is it Gresselick, too, the defensive? I see that he got a PTO
I think
somewhere.
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
I think he did.
I read that, too.
But you're right. I got to think with Roslovic, it's about term. Because, teams with all these names that could get out there, from McDavid, to Eichel, to Kaprizov, to Connor, to, there's a bunch of them. Do you want to lock in on a guy that you're uncertain of where you got to give him 2 or 3 years and then that takes away your flexibility next summer? I'm not sure you want to do that. I would think if he's willing to accept a 1-year deal, he'd sign it by now and he's in camp and someone's willing to give that.
Yeah.
Maybe Tree Living and the Leafs just don't like him. I don't know. Maybe it's just not the guy that they have interest in. But if it were a 1-year deal at $4 million or something, they have that kind of flexibility. They have that money. You'd think they'd give it to him and give it a shot.
They do, but here's the counter to that, Hayes. That $4 million, if player X is available to you halfway through the season and he's a $6 million player, you need that money.
And I appreciate that, and I like that idea because the Leafs are very rarely ever in that position where they have that flexibility. Right. They're always trying to accrue money and move pieces around and waive guys.
They've been creative over the last.
I think if Roslovic wanted to sign with anybody for $2 million, kind of that start-over deal, I think he'd be signed right now.
I know, but you guys know what we're talking about here, right? Smallish skill, not exactly heavy.
Yeah.
You really want to wheel that in there? I don't know.
Thing is if you feel like your team, like Toronto, when you look at some of the forwards are big. He could find a spot. Michelli's not a big guy, so Roslovic could find his spot in a top 6 potentially. Their right shot, but again, if he wants $4 million, I think you look past him. You might like the player, you might not love him, and he might not be a perfect fit for your program. So, be interesting to see what he is asking for, because that's a player that I think would garner a little bit more interest than what we're seeing right now. So maybe the ask is too high, Hayes. You said it might be, hey, he wants a 3-year deal at $3 million or something, and teams are like, we're going to save our money or save our term for other players, other options. But if he said, I'll play on a 1 year at a low term and maybe with some bonus money or something, I think he'd be signed by now.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, camps are open. You know, this is one where I'd be freaking out if I was the player, thinking, what the hell's going on here? Like, what's the next step? You're going to Europe?
Well,
like, no, I can't imagine that.
I don't think he's going to Europe. The next step is when you tell your agent, do something, because I got to get a camp.
Well, it's got to happen in the next week or so, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Like, games start on the weekend, and then all of a sudden, GM starts seeing their players, and they're like, I don't really need you.
Exactly.
You know? Like, the leverage is clearly in the side of the teams now, because the player would have to be desperate.
Agreed.
But, the Leafs have a pretty good, I think, balance of size and then, smaller skill guys. Like a Michelli, like a Domi, like a Robertson, like a Cowan, and I don't know where Cowan fits in. I'm not convinced he makes the team. I think he'll probably play with the Marlies. But if you balance that out, Matthews and Nyes are massive. Put in a smaller guy. Willie and Tavares are of a decent size. You got Joshua and Wall. Those are big boys.
Yep.
You can afford to maybe have a smaller player in there.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
so,
you can do that.
I think they have enough size where you can get away with smaller skill and kind of blend it into your roster. All right, best bets coming up. Dear Hazy B, Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, today's best bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app.
You know where we're going with this. Bills laying the points, 11.5 tonight. Josh Allen, anytime goals or touchdown scored tonight. And Devon Achane, 50-plus yards rushing tonight. That parlay paying plus 440. They do have some offensive weapons, and there are some defensive pieces missing in Buffalo. So I could see it being a high-scoring game. I just think Buffalo's going to score 40-plus points and cover and win. Yeah. So there's your parlay. Best bets powered by FanDuel. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is the exclusive home of the Overdrive same-game parlay. Please play responsibly, 18+, physically located in Ontario. All right, Thursday afternoon. Going to mix it up because we're at BMO tomorrow, right? And have a lot going on tomorrow. We got a bunch of Argos coming by. We got Keith Pelly coming by. Luke's coming by. It's supposed to be a beautiful night. Sticking around for the game. CFL on TSN. It's going to be amazing tomorrow. Let's fire up a little Dear Hazy B.
People send in a tweet. They write us for our professional advice on life things. Dear Hazy B, every morning